I can tell you right now, 2016 is going to be a very different year. What we're going to be doing is doing it for real. We are going to be going where very, very few others have gone before. So the question is, what kind of year is this going to be for this planet?
Eye-opening awareness.
Eye-opening awareness.
I think we're going to get past fear this year.
I would say we're going to continue in violence.
I would say choosing conscious ignorance.
A gap between people who continue to enjoy ruts and
Good.
those who have gone so far almost past the turning point.
Two different things. People putting their heads in the sand even more because they just can't deal with what's going on.
Right.
And then I'll call it, no more, the revolution escalates. Different, exciting.
So we have a list here. We'll go back and check on it later in the year. It's good, but it's not great. So second part of the question, same basic question, but instead of on a global basis, 5 words or less, what is this year going to be like for you?
Unraveling all these ties.
Loving myself.
What's one thing you're going to do to love yourself?
Realize it's okay to just be me.
Choosing to enjoy life.
Feeling my I amness, my I exist.
In each wound, there is always an element of love.
Transforming peace.
Transforming peace.
And stabilization.
Okay, my word for all of this, for you, for the world, for everything else, disruptive.
Oh.
Totally disruptive.
Oh.
Totally disruptive. Disruptive for the planet.
Wow.
It's going to be one of those OMG kind of years.
Oh.
And it doesn't mean there has to be fear, but there will be. It doesn't mean there has to be chaos, but there will be, or violence, but there will be, or ignorance. There'll be a lot of that. And it's just going to be a totally disruptive year. Everything gone bonkers. And this is not a fear thing at all. I see some of you are just about ready to type something. There's no fear whatsoever. When you move to a new house or you remodel your current house, it's kind of disruptive, but for the purpose of going to a better place, something more enjoyable. There's disruptions along the way. There's going to be this year. I'm going to ask you right now to celebrate those disruptions, globally and personally. Could you accept right now that all of these disruptions are being brought forth to you, not by anybody else, but by you, for the sake of you, to change your life, to make you a true master on this planet? One very important point, it's called the master's sense. The master's sense. You are going to be allowing that in. You're going to then get very confused by it, and then you're going to finally understand it. A few of you already have had it occurring in your life, but you're not sure what it is. Let me explain, if you would. In order for anything to be sensed, you have to have certain qualities. Number one, awareness. Number two is light. Light occurs naturally when there is consciousness, the I am awareness. That basically emits, radiates light. From here, from light, comes energy. Energy is basically the compassion of the soul that's been so condensed, so brought into itself, that it actually goes through a crystallizing process that turns it into energy. The consciousness was smart enough, aware enough to give itself a means to experience itself, and that is energy. The next thing you have is what we've been talking about lately. You have, I'm going to call it motion. And it represents time and space and activity and past and future and everything else, because you're actually not moving. Everything else is moving through you. in order to sense anything, you have to have a degree of awareness. You create automatically and radiate this thing called light. You tap into energy without power, and now there's motion. Now you have a living experience. And from this next one on the bottom, you are able to perceive. That's where you're at right now. You're in the middle of your perception. But you know, and I know, that you know that the perception isn't all real. The perception is too limited, and you're screaming to get out. You know there's more. What happens to a person that loses all of their 5 primary senses? They will go crazy. The mind cannot handle it. The senses are an extension of your mind. The mind uses those 5 things to gather, interpret, and measure data and create your reality. The master sense opens up new worlds. But David, you're never going to be able to taste that world or even think into that world or hear that world, because you need a master sense outside of this little reality, not your human senses. They don't work out there. You're not going to get to where you're trying to get to, enlightenment, realization, by using those. So how do you get there? That's the frustrating thing. That's what so many of you have been wondering about lately. It's the frustration and the passion. How do we get there? It's very simple. I exist. I exist. I've been asking you for years now to feel it, not to think it, but to feel I exist. A lot of you have gotten bored because you keep thinking about it. You keep trying to make it into something that it's not necessarily. You keep trying to sense it with your mind, and you wait to, well, I haven't gotten the tingling all over my body, or I don't see it. I don't see. No, you're not going to. It is the master's sense that understands it. It's nothing like the 5 human senses. It's nothing like the mind. It's not a thought. It is a knowingness. It's not a mantra or a meditation. It is an awareness. Suddenly you are beyond time and space. And suddenly you realize what I've been talking about for years, that suddenly the future is just here. Once the master sense opens up and it is accepted and allowed, and you keep your frickin' hands and your ears and your eyes and everything else off of it, because you don't try to turn it into a human sense. And once you allow it, once you let yourself go crazy enough to realize that it's there, once you don't think about it and try to construct it in your brain or see it with your eyes, once you just realize it's there, everything changes. Game changes. And that's what 2016 is going to bring. And that's the disruption and the beauty of it all.